Back at Model Citizen, here with my client Chase. We're already 2 sessions in to this sleeve. So we have this bottom part here, the whole inside is fresh. We have this mouth of a dragon from last time. So today, we're gonna be capping off this top, and then we're gonna come in to start the inner part. We had a really nice heel on what we got going so far. It really doesn't look like any of it has to be retouched. We'll get into it, get the top going. Let's get into it. Did we talk about what we're gonna be doing on the inside of the arm?
Not a whole lot, mostly whatever's up to your judgment.
Cool, so this is what I had drawn. So what I'm thinking, if you're open to it, we have geisha on the inside. On the outside here, we have this kind of like dark masculine figure, like demoness. So I thought it might be a nice transition to come to a feminine feature, still staying in that ballpark, but we'll kind of have those opposing images. And then at the top, on the top inner, I'm thinking maybe we do koi fish to kind of match the dragon. A lot of times they're associated with each other in like stories and, you know, the whole swimming up the river thing.
For sure.
I think it'll look really nice. We have kind of this theme going on the outside, same theme but opposing view on the inside, and I think it'll look smart and make sense.
I agree 100%.
Cool, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
So some things we're going to be looking at with this tattoo is, one, keeping in mind that the work we've already done is healed. So it's going to be a little lighter than what we're putting in or adding today. So you will see that difference. You know, the blacks we put in today are going to be completely solid dark black. The matured pieces or the pieces we did prior will come off a little lighter now that they're healed. So we're going to be noticing this through the piece. For me, you know, you just do what you would normally do. Try not to pay too much attention to the healed work. Don't let it confuse you with contrast. So I'm going to be moving bottom right of the stencil, top left of the stencil. I'm going to be just bloodlining a lot of these lines that are, or shapes I should say. I'm going to be bloodlining a lot of these shapes that are close to the healed work. That way I can kind of wipe away the stencil and get a more clear view of what's going on, and it'll be a little easier for me to transition from the healed work into the new stuff that we're doing today. So you can see I'm building this up, I'm wiping away the stencil, and now I have a really clear view of my healed work meeting my new stencil. It's a lot easier to work when it's clear. Not all these purple lines going everywhere. Alright, we're doing a little check-in, seeing the progress we've got. We've got a pretty good amount of the dragon head accomplished here. I'm just slowly building this up. Been using the same technique throughout the whole piece, where I come over to my stencil, bloodline it in so I don't lose the stencil or rub it off, and then work on top of it. So we just readjusted our positioning to stretch this area out. So I kind of had him move his arm forward. I will often switch positions in the same session, just always trying to maximize the stretch of the area we're working on. Also, it's not as much, hand pressure, movement. It's gonna save, your traps in your back in the long run from not having to apply so much pressure. Don't be afraid to move around your client. And now with this area positioned like this, the ink just goes in easier. I don't have to beat up the skin as much. More likely to get kind of just a one-pass deal. Right now I'm just working on the textures in this dragon. I'm doing my best to keep a nice balance of values in here. Push some back, pull some forward, creating some depth. Obviously the darker they are, the farther back they're gonna look. The lighter they are, the closer they're gonna look. This kind of helps add some variety. We see this one just got pulled way forward. This one got pushed back. This one's somewhere in the middle. Then once I get the shadows figured out, with my depth on these individual pieces, I'll come back and brush over, I don't know, the entire strand and this strand, and it kind of elevates our depth even more. So maybe now I'm just focusing on this section, push that back, pull that forward, this section, same thing, this section, and then I'll look at the piece as a whole. I'll see like, oh, this is like a big ear horn thing coming out. I'm gonna brush over all these sections, So we start out detailed, we expand, look at the whole piece, and end up making our image really dynamic by doing that. We're done with day one. First session complete. We have back-to-back. We have him tomorrow as well. But let's talk about what we got done today. So we got done the cap of the sleeve, which really finishes this outside design going. Everything flows really nice. We'll talk a little bit about today. So we have the top of the dragon head. As you can see, I talked earlier in the video that we have the difference in the healed versus the fresh. So this was something I was paying attention to during, this right here is black, retouch some of the blacks, which is something that I recommend doing whenever you have the opportunity, is retouching the blacks just to make sure they get as solid as possible. It doesn't always make sense for a client to come back in, but if you can nail it while you're working on a sleeve, good idea. So with the light and how we did the shading, it draws the eye right to the center of the face. And like we did that with having this dark exterior background. Here's the lightest point. This is coming kind of forward. You can see I made the nose pretty dark and then even kept this background dark, which was a last minute decision. Originally, since I had the nose dark, I was thinking about keeping this background light, but I really wanted to keep the focus back on this center part. So we ended up just doing everything on the outside dark. I kept this kind of like horn thing light to break up some of the darkness on the back there, but everything was shaded in, after I put these details in, everything was shaded in. That way we can keep the focus where I want it on this eye. Feathered in some of these negative space here, and I also left some negative space here on the mouth. Now, I don't know if I'm going to keep that negative space, but when we eventually come on the inside, I like to draw it right into this piece. So rather than putting something there or guessing, I just left it open. I'll figure that out when I get to that area, save myself, not make problems for future John. But great day today. We have this outside accomplished. Tomorrow we're gonna come on the inside and just keep working our way up the sleeve. Couldn't be more happy with the results.